Hello. So, I just had pictures done of my house yesterday for making a listing for selling my house. So, one step closer to getting that office, and I don't have to do this in the garage, you know. So, today, just kicking back and getting into the Word. day 16 now, the video journal. Read chapter 27 of Jeremiah. It's titled The Sign of the Yokes. And that's because God tells Jeremiah to put on a yoke. So, like the wooden thing that an ox would have on its shoulders, a weight around the neck. And he tells him to go to the surrounding countries with this yoke. And he says, symbolizes what the leaders of these countries should be doing to Nebuchadnezzar. I've chosen Nebuchadnezzar, he says, and so if they don't want to die, they just need to bow down and humble themselves and do what he says. Because Nebuchadnezzar's judgment is coming also, but at a later time, So that's what this is about, just telling everybody, hey, do what Nebuchadnezzar says. Do what I say, and I say to do what Nebuchadnezzar says, So, that was the main message here. He also goes to just the king Jerusalem and tells him the same thing, and also that all these prophets you've been listening to, they're not good for you. Don't listen to the prophets and the sorcerers and the enchanters. They're not speaking from God. And he says the way that you would know is if they tell you that these precious vessels, these precious objects that Babylon has already taken from you will be reunited with you. Well, that's wrong. And the precious vessels that are left in the temple, they're going to be scattered. You're not going to get to see them. A real prophet of God would not care because it's God's will, and these are just earthly things, although they are precious and holy, for the temple. God's kingdom is more powerful and on a higher plane than our earthly objects. These prophets aren't going to care. So that's what he's telling him, how you can discern a good prophet in this troubling time. So God's looking out for them. He's telling them exactly what to do, and they're still being stiff-necked about it. I think we could translate that a bit to today. We're right now under a pandemic, and the law says I have to wear a mask everywhere. It's annoying, it's frustrating, but God will be the judge of the people in charge, not me. So it doesn't hurt me. Well, it's uncomfortable, but it's not going to kill me to bow down and do what they say, and I might as well just do it. Because God's the one in charge. I can let him fight it out for me, And I don't need to worry about the earthly things that might be getting whipped around right now. I don't quite have a job yet, and I'm trying to sell a house, but even if that, everything goes under, it's still God's will. It's still whatever God wants is what he wants. I don't need to worry about it. I don't need to care about it. I don't need to care, if they outlaw electric kettles or something, There's some strange laws out there that people have, and it doesn't matter. Just keep your eyes on God. Keep your sight on a higher purpose. And I think that's what he's telling them. Like a true prophet would have a higher sight than these earthly vessels. They would be keeping their eyes on God, and we need to keep our eyes on Christ. The man that gave us grace, he's more important than all these earthly things.